Hey gang, Matt Spencer here with another StarCraft Summer Fun blog. Today we're going to tackle a pretty important topic when it comes to the performance of your boat, but something that not a lot of people know a lot about, and that's all about the science of propellers. So when it comes to propellers, you know who's going to know the most about them is your dealer and their service department. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have at least a working knowledge of your propeller, how they work, so you can talk the talk to see if it's time for you to indeed prop up or prop down. So let's start with the basics. When it comes to propellers, you have two main measurements: the diameter, which is how wide the propeller is, and the pitch. Pitch is very common, and that's the one measurement you need to know. Your pitch is how far the propeller travels in one full revolution. Now, pitch will affect your RPM. If your motor is either over the factory specs of the rev limit or under, then that's when you know it's time to change your propeller. Now, there's also 3-blade and 4-blade. 3 blades, like we have here today, is better for top end speed. 4-blade gets you out of the hole faster, but generally not as fast in the top end. You can then get into aluminum, stainless steel, all that other jazz. That's for the experts. All you really need to know is to make sure that you have the proper diameter and the right pitch. So before we get our hands dirty, we first must head out and set a benchmark to see what kind of performance numbers we're getting with the prop that we have. So on my F200, I am running a 14.5 diameter prop and a 15 pitch. So what we're going to look for is wide open throttle RPM, wide open throttle speed, and of course we'll test acceleration. So let's head out on the water and see what we get. So based on our initial baseline results, we now know that the motor is not getting to the rev limiter, so we need to increase the RPM. Now what we actually have to do is go lower in pitch. Basically, it's the opposite. What I mean by that is the lower the pitch, the higher the RPM, and vice versa. You go up in pitch, you go down in RPM. So that's how you know. So right now I am running a 15. So I have to try out a 14 right here, a 13 might be too low, and then we're also going to try a 13 pitch saltwater series Yamaha prop as well. What's nice about changing propellers is that it's really easy to do, and all you need is 2 tools. You need a prop wrench and a set of pliers. The prop wrench is for the nut, and the pliers is to just straighten out the cotter pin. So let's get to it and start changing this propeller. What's nice about this is that the nut doesn't have to go on very tightly, because that's what the cotter pin does. It keeps it in place. Be careful when finishing unscrewing it that you do not drop the nut in the water. That comes out. Hub comes out. The propeller slides out. So we're gonna go from the 15 to the 14. Goes on. Hub. So 14 pitch props on, let's go head out and see how it performs. Now what's interesting with this is that my revs have gone up as they would. I went from 5,600 to now I'm at 58, almost 5,900 RPM, and my speed has stayed the same. I'm still at 38 miles per hour. So we still have about 200 more RPM to go. I'm thinking that that 13 pitch prop might be the one for us. So I tested the Saltwater Series 13.5 pitch prop, and it just simply wasn't the prop for this setup. The RPM was too low at 5,600, and the top speed was underwhelming at 36 miles per hour. So I think ideally, based on what I've seen today, I'm gonna stick with the original propeller I had at a 15 pitch. It got me the best top speed, but not only that, it was a little lower RPM. So yeah, ideally I'd like to see the motor at 6,000 RPM, but if I'm not getting any extra speed, then that's just wasted fuel economy in my opinion. In terms of changing propellers as a maintenance thing, you've now seen as a difficulty rating, it's like a 2 out of 10. Very, very simple to do. So if you ever get in a pinch, now you know. But in terms of testing multiple propellers throughout a day like this, it's more of a pain in the butt than anything. So the best thing to do is to leave it up to your dealer. They're the ones who's gonna know, and they'll have the propellers in stock, so you don't have to spend all this money just to find out you're gonna use the same propeller you already had. If you have any other maintenance questions or tips or blogs that you'd like to see, use the hashtag StarcraftSummerFun, like us on Facebook, and as always, I'll see you out on the water.